Cable Bahamas employs over 500 people. Of the 500, how many of them do you think are Bahamian?
About 3/4.
Okay.
I will say 80%.
I would say all.
All?
I would say about 98%.
98%.
Yes.
I was going about 80%, so but 98 sounds better.
I'd say 80%.
I think about 95% of them are Bahamian, yes.
What if I told you 99%?
99% of the people is Bahamian?
99%.
That's true?
Excellent.
Yeah? So Cable Bahamas is entirely for the Bahamian people.
That is correct. Cable Bahamas is widely represented by Bahamians.
Well, now you know.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into MB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight in news, the Labor Minister blasts the Bcpou for its opposition to BTC's redundancy exercise. The DNA questions why government would allow scores of Bahamians to lose their jobs. The Attorney General's office closing loopholes in the court system, plus how to keep your troubled teen busy this summer. I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on MB12 Weekend. Minister of Labor and National Insurance Shane Gibson is blasting executives of the Bahamas Communications and Public Officers Union, insisting they are making a fuss over a practice that has been occurring at BTC for the past 20 years. Gibson says they are blowing the most recent BTC downsizing exercise out of proportion. Jasmine Brown has his candid comments in this report.
Gibson minced few words as he blasted the union and their recent tactics. BTC's negotiating team informed Bcpou leaders on Thursday that 140 employees will be laid off on Tuesday. The downsizing exercise follows what has been described as a failed voluntary separation package drive. Union officials have spoken out on the matter several times and even warned of possible action this week. However, Gibson isn't impressed.
When I was working at BTC, which was then Bcpou, in 1992 they had 2,400 employees. They had multiple downsizing exercises. This is not the first one.
Bcpou leaders met with hundreds of members on Thursday and Friday to discuss the impending layoffs. Evans says he was informed of the planned redundancies during a near 3-hour meeting with the company's negotiating team. The company first offered packages in March, but our news team understands that only 50 people accepted packages. The packages that were being offered are in line with those offered ahead of BTC's privatization in 2011. During that process, more than 500 people accepted VSEPs. Gibson pointed out that Evans was present for that downsizing.
I see the president now, given the perception, and this is the first time, he sat there. There were many that happened. All of a sudden the light goes off and he's saying, okay, it can't happen. Started with 2,400 and now down to about 700 employees. Labor relations is good.
Earlier this week, Evans revealed the union has reached a roadblock with BTC over aspects of its new industrial agreement. Evans called BTC's final proposal a slap in the face, but said executives have agreed to improve conditions. Union officials say they now want to see it in writing. The union's previous agreement expired in April 2014. Evans said with redundancies looming and the new agreement outstanding, tensions are high and morale is low. There are currently several unions in negotiations with the government. Those unions have expressed displeasure with labor relations in the country. Gibson fired back, saying the problem is that too often labor leaders pin the blame on others, especially the government. He added that this is not only an issue for Bcpou, but many union leaders who have complained about the state of labor in the country.
I think these labor leaders have to learn that when I was president of the union, I never relied on the government to solve my problems. I didn't wait until I have a problem. Then I run to the office of the Prime Minister, run to the government and say, okay, I want you to resolve it. And if you don't resolve it, I'll go to the press and I'll tell the press labor relations is terrible. I didn't do that. I never did it as president of the union. If you're elected to deal with issues, deal with it. But don't continue to blame everybody else because of your inability to be effective at your job. Labor relations is good. If you can't do your job, don't blame it on labor relations. Just learn how to do your job.
Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, Democratic National Alliance leader Branville McCartney is also weighing in on BTC's redundancy exercise, questioning how government could allow so many people to lose their jobs in this economic climate when jobs are scarce and government is supposed to hold the controlling interest in the company. McCartney said if government truthfully reached an agreement with Cable and Wireless last year to take back the majority interest in the company, it must actually be government conducting the redundancy exercise.
Was the government being truthful when they said they was able to fulfill their campaign promise to retain the majority shares in BTC and the management control of BTC? Or was that an untruth? If the government was truthful in that they got the majority shares in BTC and the management control of BTC, then it goes without saying that it is the government who is responsible for the layoffs of the 140 plus persons in the next few days, and it is our understanding that there's more to come shortly thereafter.
BTC offered employees voluntary separation packages in March. However, only 50 of those applications were approved. Though the company has not commented since this latest revelation that 140 employees would be laid off, BTC CEO Leon Williams said earlier this year that the opening of the cellular market to competition would result in the company streamlining operations. However, McCartney is questioning why this is necessary, considering that a new competitor has not been chosen and the approval process for a new service provider has reached a standstill.
Is the private company, Cable and Wireless, as the Deputy Prime Minister indicated a few months ago, and that the government has no say in it, then it would seem as if the government was not truthful when they said that they retain the controlling interest and the management of BTC. The question is, who is responsible? And there is also a question as to whether or not the monies the BTC claimed to have made, a profit that is, why are they still laying persons off when in fact we don't even know who the competition will be?
Prime Minister Perry Christie confirmed during his budget communication last month that the Utilities Regulation and Competition Authority and the Cellular Liberalization Task Force had advised government to delay the spectrum auction, which is the second phase of the cellular liberalization process, in order to ensure the integrity of the selection process. Well, despite some of the challenges that continue to plague the judicial system, Attorney General Alison Maynard Gibson said her office has made great strides in reducing case backlogs and streamlining the process of getting matters to trial. Last week, Minister of State for Legal Affairs Damian Gomez boasted that at least 2 matters presented to court this year will begin trial before the end of 2015. Maynard Gibson said the Attorney General's office has essentially been able to reduce the time frame from a matter being presented from 344 days to 50 days.
50 days to the VBI being presented and the file is complete, and we believe that a reasonable jury will convict, has meant that once it is now set down for trial, it's all there. We just have to follow up on the forensics and the pathology. The likelihood that it now comes on for trial when it is set down is increased because that file is complete. And we have been successful in actually, many matters have come on within a year. But since the last budget, we've had 2 murders tried within 9 months and another murder tried within a year of charge.
She said it's because her office is enforcing new standards that insist files are complete before they are presented in court. And with 10 new criminal courts, Maynard Gibson said the improvement is proof that the system is working.
So with these 10 courts and with the new systems in place, we have the capacity to deal with the matters that are coming on and the backlog. So this time next year, we expect an even better story to tell in terms of things that have actually been achieved.
Maynard Gibson said it closes loopholes that criminals sometimes take advantage of and restores confidence in the justice system.
And confidence in the system is critically important for the victims of crime who know that they will be able to bring closure, they will be able to get justice from a system. For accused persons who know that if they are asserting their innocence, they will get to trial within a reasonable period of time. And also for those who want to play the system, they will know that, hey, we've closed down those loopholes and you can't play the system.
The conviction rate is at 66%, according to the Attorney General, who said during her contribution to the debate on the 2015-2016 budget in the Senate that for the first time this year, the Office of the Attorney General is on track to dispose of more cases than the number of voluntary bills of indictments presented. Well, firefighters raced to the derelict vehicle storage facility on Marshall Road this morning after receiving reports of a massive blaze at that site. Fire Chief Superintendent Walter Evans says they got the call at around 4 a.m. However, when the first crew responded, 2 additional trucks were called to assist as the blaze threatened nearby homes and buildings. Evans says officers were able to contain the fire, but it's still burning at this hour. He says heavy-duty equipment will be required to fully extinguish that blaze. Investigations continue into the cause of the fire. Stay with us. When MB12 returns, an international consultant suggests the best way to implement new taxes, plus child abuse activists calling for more transparency from government agencies. We'll tell you about those and more stories when MB12 Weekend comes right back.